Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast. We're coming to you live from Cole Creative in downtown Wilkes-Barre. I'm Rich Howells. I'm the founder and editor of NEPA Scene. And we're sitting here with the Scranton alternative hard rock band, the Holtzmann Effect. Thank you guys for being on and playing a few songs for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys watched the live streams, or if you were at our last open mic, these guys came in and made a bit of a splash on that last open mic. So we're going to talk about their official live debut. I guess we were the unofficial debut. At the Lackawanna Music Festival, which is at Backbreakers in Scranton on July 7th and 8th. They're going to be playing on the 8th, which is Sunday. So we're going to be talking about their original music, developing their sound, Also performing in local cover band Drive, which I have an interesting little tidbit about that as well.
You wrote an article for it.
Back in the day, yes. Completely different members too, so it was weird.
Yeah.
So I guess I got to interview you guys all over again then.
Sure.
So much more. We have tons of stuff to talk about here tonight. So if you're interested in any of those topics, if you want to learn more about this band, they're brand new to me. They're brand new to the scene. So please ask questions and leave comments. We love when you guys participate. It's much more fun when you guys ask questions. We already have one or two, which is really cool. So thank you for participating. Please keep those coming, and we will get to them at some point in the show. So we also want to note we are also streaming on Periscope as well on Twitter. So if you want to follow us on Twitter as well, but you can't comment to us on there. So it's kind of more fun if you're on Facebook Live. But we won't discriminate if you prefer Twitter. So before we get into the interview, we have some beers to crack open from Beer Boys in Wilkes-Barre. They have 72 beers on tap, and they always have new and interesting stuff going on. So every Wednesday they do a tap takeover with different breweries, and this time they're with Mother Earth Brewing Company, which is out of California. It's just debuting in Pennsylvania, so Beer Boys is one of the first, if not the first, bar to have it on tap and ready to go. So they were kind enough to give us a couple of those tonight. So if you want to stop down at any point tonight, the special launch. We'll have Buku IPA, Syntax, get it, Imperial Peanut Butter Stout, which we actually have, so that'll be interesting. Power of Love IPA, and Cali Cream and Cream Ale Nitro. So you can get them in pints, flights, and you get free glassware for everyone you purchase. So you can walk away with a free glass. You'll be one of the first ones in Pennsylvania to have one. So if you're a beer geek, that is a badge of honor, I guess. So they've been kind enough to share these with us. We have the Buku, we have the Power of Love, and we have the Syntax. So which ones do you guys want to go with first?
John.
The Hendrix fan in me wants to go with the Power of Love.
Okay.
We must.
All right. Power of Love. It is then.
Isn't that Huey Lewis in the news?
I was going to say that was what I thought originally. I was like, yeah, that's Huey Lewis.
That thing up there, please.
So you want to pass those
Thanks
down?
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm looking forward to trying these too. It's cool.
Yeah, they do stuff like this all the time, but this is the first one they're doing with this brewery, so I'm excited to try it. Because I become, as you get older, you become more of a snob with this kind of stuff. You have maybe a couple extra bucks in your pocket of expendable income, and you're sick of Coors Light or God forbid the water of the area lager.
Yeah.
It's nice to have something different with some flavor to it.
I have a buddy who just still drinks extra gold.
I got one of those, buddy. Do we all have one of those? Yes.
That's got to be rough too. Like you drink
This is
the
great.
good stuff and then you go back to that.
I don't drink enough to
Milwaukee's
do that.
best.
I got a funny story about it. Did I tell you?
This is really good.
It's excellent, yeah.
It's kind of it's definitely got that hop bite to it. The earthy kind of flavor, which I guess is part of the name.
Not super bitter,
Right.
I think it's
smooth.
Just bitter
I
enough.
like it.
It's not. I don't know if it's Power of Love. I don't know where that comes in, but
Nah, you think of fruit.
Mhm.
Love.
right. But still, very, very good.
It's flowery.
We'll definitely be trying the last as we go along. So thank you to Beer Boys for
Boys.
that. And we also want to give a shout out to our other sponsor, the V Spot, one of the most popular bars in northeastern Pennsylvania, with live entertainment every night of the week. This week they have Brian Banks tonight, Village Idiots on Thursday, Downing Thomas on Friday. I've heard good things about those guys. Pink Slip on Saturday, and DJ Huff is hosting karaoke on Sunday. And I also want to take a moment to talk about the NEPA Scene Rising Talent final showcase that we had there just last night. As you can tell, and by our late start time, I'm exhausted from that night and misplaced a bunch of stuff, which caused the delay. So apologies for people who were waiting at 7. But it was a long night. It was a really good night. It was way more successful than I thought. I was kind of getting nervous about it because we didn't sell a lot of pre-sale tickets. I'm like, I don't know if enough people are going to show up, but you guys packed the place again, and especially on a Tuesday night, that's a tough thing to do, and I'm glad everybody came out. And the performances were excellent. Everybody was really great. I'm glad I didn't have to make the final decision as to who won, because I would never be able to do it. Thomas the Red was the winner, for those who don't know. We just had him on the show last week, so if you missed that podcast, you can go back in our archives and check that one out. He's a very interesting dude, and he's not as crazy as you would think, with the whole get-up and everything like that. He's actually a really smart guy who knows what he's doing, and he put together a really impressive set. He's really honed it over the last year. He has new music that he does the whole thing to, and it's a really cool experience. It's a lot of fun. It's very tongue-in-cheek. It's very funny. It's not meant to be taken seriously at all. He looks like this big, serious guy that's going to kill you. But he's a big teddy bear in 10 pounds of armor. But he put on a great show. Everybody did. I mean, it was very close. And our runner-up was Dan Hoppel, who's also hysterical, absolutely funny. Always a very funny guy, but this time he was just on fire. He was really, really good with what he did. And so I never want to hear from the comedians are always outnumbered by the musicians at these things. And they don't think that I hear their little gossipy whispers, but I hear them. And they're always like, oh, we don't have a chance. There's all these great bands. There's all this great music. We're going to get drowned out. Nobody's going to listen to us. Nobody's going to give it a chance or whatever. And this is the second time that comedians have taken both first and second place in this contest. So I don't want to hear it, guys. I know you guys are real sensitive and everything like that, but come on.
Outstanding local talent. They were hilarious.
And the fact...
A couple of them.
The fact that the comedians were able to edge out all the great musicians that played, both full bands and solo musicians. And it's not to say that their performances weren't excellent as well. It was just a matter of a couple of points. And it's all down to opinions. So that's kind of why we're starting to, with next season, we're going to move away from the way that the final showcase is done. We're not going to have a final showcase anymore. So that was the final showcase. Mm-hmm. We're going to focus more on the community building, which I think is the most important part of what we do. And I think we've done that through the past open mics. We want to take the contest and kind of put that online. So it's going to be more of how you see, the Steamtown Music Awards and stuff like that. Some of the things are privately judged and some of them are publicly judged, and you share polls around and stuff like that. So it's going to be kind of like that, where you're going to be able to share the stuff online and get votes that way and that kind of stuff. So it takes the contest element out of it, so people don't feel like they're going there to be judged all the time, because everybody's filling out slips and deciding who they thought was best or not best or whatever. So we're going to take that part and kind of move that online and do something a little different. And we're going to showcase a different artist every week too. So we're still going to have a headliner that hopefully, as long as all the sponsors sign on and everything like that, will be paid every week. So we can never be accused of not compensating the artist in some form or another. We always do that with the headliners. We've always done that with the previous event. We're going to continue that with this event. So it'll be similar to what we have now, but a little bit more, I think, fair to everybody. And we're going to give prizes out hopefully each month. Instead of one big prize at the end for one person, there'll be prizes broken up each month that can go to a different artist. And there'll be different things too. So we're hoping not just recording time like we've done in the past, but maybe free music video or something like that. If we can get a local production company to sign on to something like that, or something along those lines that's going to be valuable to the artist, that's going to make them want to come back and stuff like that. You just have to show up to the open mic to be eligible. So we'll probably be doing that in the fall, maybe early to late September, early to mid September, and then into November, December. So like we've done in the past, because you guys seem to like it. You guys seem to keep showing up for it. So the finals was kind of my judge of all right, do people actually care about this thing enough for us to continue? And obviously that answer is yes. So thank you guys for supporting local arts and supporting NEPA Scene as well. So all the door money went right back into the prize money for the artists, and a little bit that we have left over paid for this guy because my laptop died in the middle of the season, which was stressful. So I had to get this little thing, which helps me answer your comments as well. So everything goes right back into the project and what we do. So thanks again for supporting that. All right, so now that I've talked to the camera enough, I can talk to you guys. So please give us a little bit of background how the band. So when did you guys start this project?
It originally started with Sean, Cody, and myself a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And the whole idea behind it, we were originally going to make just a cover acoustic band to play on weeknights. So we're sitting there in my living room and we're talking about it, and like we're talking about doing crazy cover songs like Africa by Toto.
Okay.
And then that conversation pivoted into, let's just start an original band. Let's just do it. So we did. We started pulling some melodies out and started working together, and then eventually John came along and became our lead guitarist, and then that's kind of how it is. That's how it became.
So you could have beat Weezer to the punch with Toto.
No, they definitely beat us.
Rough.
So, but you guys are also part of another cover band
We
called
are.
Drive as well.
We wanted to do like more acoustic stuff, kind of expand our,
Your
our
repertoire.
sound or repertoire.
Yeah.
Exactly, John. And
Make a couple dollars. I bet.
exactly, make a couple dollars was kind of the idea. To get more booking.
Absolutely.
And stuff instead of just doing like
There's
all
no
the
shame in that.
the loud, Friday, Saturday night gigs.
Expand the
Right.
demographic again.
Yeah. Well, and that could wear you out too. Doing those types of gigs all the time can be stressful, and there's a lot involved with that. And you just strain on your voice and everything else too. So
Absolutely.
it's probably nice to kick back and do something acoustic.
Yeah.
And we do kind of do that.
We still do. We have a little side project called Second Gear, and we'll play around at Thirsties and stuff like that, and it's always a good time. So, but
I think this project kind of took on a mind of its own, like you guys were saying, you didn't really expect it to be an original thing, and then you've been sitting on some stuff for a couple of years, it's been something in the process, and now the band just became a vehicle for that. We all grew up with each
Yeah, we all
other
went to
too,
high school.
yeah,
so
we're in
like,
the same grade. and
Graduated.
everything.
Oh, okay.
we've known each other for a long time, so it just became natural and comfortable of a thing.
I mean, I was in 2 different bands
Yeah.
with this kid when I was about 16. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played some shows back in the day. Up at
No
the-
PA, I'm singing out of my bass cab, had like 5 different channels.
Whatever
Yeah.
it takes.
Good stuff.
The Dome was a good time.
I did just.
I remember shows at the Dome.
Yeah.
We opened for Felix Sarko at the Dome.
Yes, that's right. I was at that one. That was
I'm sorry.
an interesting gig.
Yeah. Those were the days. I don't know why they liked us. This is crazy.
Because they needed a band to open
Yeah.
for the.
Oh, you
show,
guys
and
got
we
friends,
knew the
right?
bassist dad, who was their manager, Bill Franklin.
Yeah.
Was the bassist dad. He was their manager.
Oh, okay.
That's how we got that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
Bill
Billy.
liked us.
He used to do stuff with Fire of Friends and stuff too,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. Well, he did
Yeah,
all
those guys
those
too.
battles of the bands and stuff that don't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I remember when I was a kid, there was so much going on for
That was a
local
good
music.
time, the
Even young,
battles
just
of the bands,
young.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there was places to play. I don't see that anymore. Actually, I don't really see any younger bands either. Maybe I'm just missing that part of my life.
There's a handful.
I mean, we're not in high school, so
That's
I'm
true.
sure there's kids in
That's
high
true.
school playing shows.
Yeah,
I hope
that's
so.
what we did.
If
Right.
you're not,
Playing
you should
parties
be.
that they're not having.
Yeah, playing the parties you're not having.
People's birthdays and stuff, yeah.
I remember playing birthday parties.
Oh, God.
Now, is that something you want to see more of, like the Battle of the Bands kind of stuff? Because people are very split on that. Not to go back to what I was just talking about, but whenever anybody does contests and stuff like that of any kind, whether it's the music awards or a Battle of the Bands or our talent show or any of that other kind of stuff, you definitely hear both sides of that, where people are like, oh, this is great exposure for everybody, it's going to get everybody out there, it's a great way to make connections and stuff, and then you have the other half who are like, this is taking advantage of artists and everybody's against each other and and that kind of stuff, and there's that attitude too. I've definitely gotten
a little
those.
bit of creative competition.
Yeah, I think if anything, Battle of the Bands would create that goal that everybody can work towards. create so like for example, we've been working on music and we got accepted into the Lackawanna Music Festival. So we've been working on that goal sometimes every day. Just
Right.
trying to create music, meet the deadline, tighten it all up and get it all nice. I think that would, I mean, as for having Battle of the Bands, I think that'd be great. It would give everybody that sense to work a little harder and have a sense of a goal instead of just going and playing practice and stuff like that. And get something to work towards.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's important to always kind of push yourself creatively, and I think if you're stagnant, you're not watching what everybody else is doing and going, oh, those guys are really good. I want to be that. And it's not to say you want to copy anybody or you want to take anybody down. Like, oh, I want to.
No, if you don't want to progress,
You
everything
admire
is
people,
stagnant.
but you look up to them in a
Exactly.
positive way, not trying to take anyone down or trying to bring them
Right.
down. I want to rise up to that level. I think community is a huge thing too, because without positive community in this area for music and the arts, it dies.
Right.
You can't do it alone. So things like that, I think, networking with other bands, like you mentioned,
Sure.
and meeting new friends in the industry. I mean, a lot of these bands that you hear of, they're different members that have switched throughout the years and joined other groups and went other directions. You've seen it.
Yeah,
And that
absolutely.
just comes from positive community and supporting each other. I grew up like jamming with people and sitting in with people who are way better than me, and that's how I learned how to play music. That's
Right.
kind of a dying art now, but that's a really positive thing.
Yeah, I would like to see more. I've been talking about that for a while with like Jen from the Keys and stuff like that. I'd love to set up like some kind of jam thing where people can just kind of hang out and jam with each other. Because I've seen a lot of cool stuff come out. We've had that a few times at our open mics too. Guys like Steve Werner. Plays a handpan and stuff like that. He'll just get a bunch of people together that he met that night and challenge them to kind of just jam with them. And the stuff that they come out with is incredible. It sounds like something you heard on a recorded CD. Like you can't believe that it's all improv.
Right.
So I think you need more of that kind of stuff to push each other and
A lot
to
of times
inspire
that
each other.
stuff comes out just at the moment, and you can't copy it, you can't recreate it because it was just in that moment.
Right.
That feeling, that's what happened.
That's
You're
why I
like,
record everything
Yeah,
I
make sure
play.
we're recording.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I can never remember anything I come up with.
I remember back in the day, we used to have this little MP3 player. It was like this big and red. We set it on top of my Blazer outside my dad's house door, and that was where we got the funnel of music coming from the living room. We record it right on top of there. There's cars driving by and everything. Good
That's
times.
art in its purest form, though. Improvisational made up then. Fresh and
yeah.
hot, not
Right.
reheated food,
Mike would clip
No one likes
inside the
microwave
house, it's so
dinner.
loud.
Yeah, it
Right.
was too loud inside the house. It just clipped, so we had to stick it outside. I remember recording stuff on a VCR. I bought an
Whatever, yeah.
RCA connector with a 1/4 inch, and I plugged my guitar into it and recorded it into a VCR. I was
That's
probably
old
like
school.
12.
That's just tape. You're recording
Yeah, but
the
I was-
tape then.
Yeah, but I was 12. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, oh, this records video. It probably just does audio too, right? I just don't plug in the yellow one.
There you go.
Well, you'd mentioned other bands and stuff. So how have your experiences in other bands influenced what you're doing with Holtzmann Effect?
Well,
I don't know.
I didn't start actually singing until about 3 years ago, I think, roughly. One phone call led to another phone call, and I ended up meeting up with a group of people out in Tunkhannock, and we formed a cover band. And that's like, I've been learning. Everything I'm doing has just been on the learning curve. I don't have the experience that I should have in most cases, but
Yeah.
I've been learning by getting thrown right into it. So just playing cover shows, I've been doing that for years, and I thought it'd be a long time before I'd ever be, or I would say, ever have the guts to do original music, because it's scary. But
Putting it all out there,
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I've been sitting on melodies and stuff that I've had for years, and I've been bringing it to these guys, and like we basically have a formula on how we've put the songs together, and it's worked out really well. We've written some really cool stuff in a very short amount of time, so it's another thing I've learned, just always on the learning curve.
I agree. Yeah, I didn't seriously start playing drums until we started this.
Basically,
Yeah, like
he's a guitar player.
yeah, I play guitar and drive,
Yeah.
Okay.
and I've always had drums around and dabbled, but like I didn't seriously start playing until a couple months ago. So I've been creating and learning and stealing lots of things.
Speaking of which, we had an early question. Frankie Kocharski said, "What drums does the drummer use?" And I mean, brand, model, and
His
and
wife's.
why.
Yeah, straight. I don't own anything. So the cymbals are all my wife's. They're all Sabian, AAs, and AAXs, various. And she's kind enough to let me use them.
Okay.
And
Thanks,
then
Sagan.
the drums actually Beef bought. Otherwise, I'd be probably using my wife's drums too. But they're both Pearl sets. I think that one's an EXP, and then the one I have at home is a Session Custom Maple. That's hers. And eventually, I'll be buying my own drums. But you know.
Isn't that one snare yours? Or is that
Oh yeah, I do own one snare drum. It's a Ludwig 30-ply birch, and it's really, really loud, so I don't use it anywhere.
Right.
But it's always there. It's always there.
For when needed. Yeah.
Yeah, for what you need.
The only thing I
Emulate the
accomplished,
sound
I
of a
tuned
fucking
the drums.
50
That's
cal.
all. But no, truly, between the two Pearl kits, I'd probably buy a Tama. But no, I like the Sabian cymbals though, so I'm probably gonna get some different crashes in that same series.
There you go.
And then some Vic Firth sticks.
Don't forget the cowbell.
There is no cowbell.
Not yet.
Nah,
That's the
yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Could always use more cowbell.
That's true.
So you said you had some of this music kind of early.
I've had pieces.
You've had pieces.
I've never had a complete song.
Okay.
I was always terrible at writing a complete song. That's why these guys they're very good at it. Because they've been in bands over the years, and they've been doing it ever since out of high school. And yeah, just bringing a melody to the table. And I'm not the only one. Every once in a while, Cody will come up with something cool. Sean will come up with something really cool. You know, same thing with John. Like we just keep adding to it. And
He's got a lot of puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
that's a
He
good way to explain
writes,
it, yeah.
he writes 2 songs at a time
At
most
least.
times. Because usually the first verse and chorus that he has put together will end up 2 separate songs by the end of it.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It works.
2 for 1.
We
It's
always get
nice.
2
He
for
comes with 1, we
specials.
get 2 out of it, and
Yeah.
all right, cool.
I always think it's interesting to see how concepts come out, because in your head they might be one way, but when you sit down with 3 other personalities and have listened to 3 different types of music throughout their life, you take this concept, this puzzle piece, but the collaborative magic, what happens when you work with other people, is it becomes something else. And a lot of times it's nothing like what you thought of, but it's great. It might be you have a concept for a hard rock and metal song, and it comes out like an acoustic song, or take a totally different spin.
Right.
But it feels great at the end, so that's art. It's art in its
Right.
purest form. So I love the collaboration. Just seeing kind of where the project goes with 4 different people working on something together.
Yeah.
That's the most exciting part for myself.
Especially when you take a break to go outside and have a smoke and you come back in and John's in there playing banjo.
Yeah.
You're like, how did this happen?
Like, all right. new
Yeah, I like
band.
obscure.
We literally showed up for rehearsal the one day. He
With a
was playing guitar. He had a banjo out.
Outside,
I
yeah.
walked out. I was like, "Oh, what the hell is going on out here?"
It didn't make any sense, but it sounded pretty cool.
It did sound
It
cool.
was awesome. It was good. It was good stuff.
I think people are more open to that nowadays too. Like we're in a generation now where everybody has a bizarre mix on their iPod or something like that.
right.
Or on their Spotify list, or whatever the kids are doing these days. I still buy CDs. So I'm a little behind on that shit. But point being, I think people have. They're not saying, oh, it has to sound this way or it has to sound that way for me to like it. I think people are more open to experimentation now. And I think they've been in a long time. I think people are more willing to give stuff a chance and not say, oh, well, that guy's got a banjo, I'm not listening to this. It's like you can have a top 40 hit now with a banjo.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Of course.
It can
Very
happen.
good point. Very good point.
I don't know. We've evolved a lot over the years. I was just thinking about this today, music-wise, between the 80s and now. All that's happened.
That's a lot of time between.
It's like 40 years.
Yeah.
We are up to 40 years now, huh?
Yeah. Just put that in
Why do I keep thinking it's like 2001?
It's not.
You were born at the end of the 80s, too.
I know.
Like, what the hell's wrong with you?
I'm going on 40 again.
Yeah, you're gonna die tomorrow, apparently.
Yeah.
86 years old.
At least you still got your hair.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Don't kind of me. I've had a receding hairline forever. Forever. I just always had more hair back in the day.
So, all right, where does the name of the band come from?
Sean and Cody.
I'm a very big Frank Herbert fan. It comes from the book Dune.
Nice.
And then we added 2 N's.
No, it has 2 N's in the book.
Fair
It
enough.
actually has like 4 spellings in the book.
Typos.
No, like there's just not even typos, maybe editing things and stuff like that.
Yeah, you guys have 2 N's in your name, so be prepared to see your name misspelled
Oh yeah,
a
it's
lot.
all the time.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fine.
I'm expecting
No the in front.
I mean, we
Sometimes it's
misspelled it
just
for the
something
first 2
buy that
months.
web
We had to
address
have a
now.
final conversation about how many N's were in it.
Yeah, we did.
it. That's true.
I was like, no, we need to figure this out now. This stuff's going online tonight.
Sean, we need
to
that
know.
web address too.
Yeah.
You know everyone's gonna mess it up.
I don't.
Actually, both of those spellings will work.
So you guys have 2 demo songs that are out there for people to kind of listen to.
Yeah,
if
they're
they
like
want
works in progress, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
scratch
kind of-
tracks more or less.
Right.
Doing, just kind of putting stuff on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Just mostly, basically, for us to kind of share and just kind of have ideas out there. And then some of the stuff that we've completed and finished, we're just putting out there to people to listen to.
Yeah.
Sure.
And we're just tracking everything in house and hopefully gonna get some stuff mixed and mastered soon.
Yeah, we gotta do that before the 15th of next month, apparently. Do that next to Rock thing.
Yeah, we're planning on entering that.
That's a really positive
97
thing,
9X
yeah.
next to Rock.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we got a
That was
Facebook message
that was
today.
pretty cool last time. I saw a lot of people who went to that. I think Chris Motionless was one of the judges and stuff.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah, that's definitely lights a fire under the artist's asses to get moving, and it gives them an outlet to focus on something and take it serious. You know,
Right.
It's really positive for the scene in general, stuff like that in this area.
It's always nice to have a dream, though, you know?
Yeah, everyone needs a dream.
Yeah.
No matter what it is.
Well, I mean, I think people tend to forget that certain members of Breaking Benjamin had a little bit of a break like that with MTV. You know, back in the day, they were on one of those like silly beach shows that they used to do all the time. That like who
Lifer.
watches this? You know, it was Lifer. Yeah. It
Yeah,
was,
Lifer was.
Life, they were,
so you
that's
know,
how they got big.
yeah, exactly. They got big, and then
Ben
essentially.
Burnley was like, dude, it's like
Yeah.
3-4 chords. I got this. Come here.
Yeah, Ben was like, "All right, I'm just gonna take you guys, put you in my band, and now you're Breaking Benjamin."
how
But
it
you know,
works.
that stuff is
Their
important.
evolution, even over the years, has been kind of crazy. Like going from Saturate to what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just doing a little discography listening today, and it is crazy between then and now. What has changed? I don't know. I don't know if I like it.
There's still a bit of a core sound though, like
The signature.
yeah, like Ben had talked about it a little bit, doing some of the press for the new album, just saying like more or less saying, I know that if I change things too much, all these people are going to be pissed at me, so I'm just going to keep what I think is the core of the sound and stuff, and you know, do some experimentation here and there, but more or less kind of deliver that, you know, a very similar album that people are going to expect.
Right.
More or less. So I don't know if that's creatively fulfilling for him or not,
I
but
think you said
he
this
knows
is the
what
most,
works.
Collaborative album he's done
Yeah, he did say that a lot of the other members participated a lot more
with
on
the,
this
with the actual
album. and-
writing.
Yeah, exactly. I think he was very kind of closed with that before. Like
Yeah.
he kind of wanted things a very specific way, and you know, maybe with age or experience or new members or whatever the case may be, you know, kind of opens you up to new ideas and stuff like that. I'm just rooting for. I'm just so excited that Aaron's in that band. I mean, Aaron Bruck has been doing this has been in the scene and done his time. And you know, played those bars, you know, in the
Yes,
corner
for
to,
sure.
you know, to people who aren't even paying attention, and drinking the whole time and whatever, and doing that stuff over and over again, and playing in different bands over the years, doing his time, and now, you know, it's paid off for him. So like, I'm kind of
Good for
rooting
him.
for him in that sense, you know.
I love hearing that stuff.
Oh, we got. I must have hit the sound on this. That's great. So anyway. What so you have these 2 demo songs. Are you guys working on recording an EP or an album
Yes.
or anything like that?
Yeah, we just kind of all got limited by time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we all have lives and responsibilities and bills.
Yeah.
Horrible chest cold for about a week and a half too. That was
Yeah, that doesn't help.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Captain Kidney.
It wasn't my kidney stones this time.
Not this time.
But we're sitting on a lot of material. We just have to comb it and have it all prepared by the Lackawanna Music Festival, which we do. We're close. We're like 90. I'd say we're about 90% there. So.
Yeah, we want to make sure we go there and kind of have like a show.
Yep.
Like we put on a show, not just play some songs.
Yeah.
We want to
Absolutely.
Right.
tear the place down.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you guys end up on that festival? Pass that around if you guys want
Thank you,
to
sir.
try this one.
So I think
This is the Syntax.
Syntax.
I think this is the chocolate peanut butter one.
Sure
I'm not
looks it.
mistaken. Yeah, it's pretty thick looking.
I kind of reached out as a joke when I first saw the festival getting promoted by Joe Cavelston. I just kind of jumped on. I'm like, I want to be on the festival. And then like one thing led to another, and he's like, okay. And then that was it. So I told the guys, they're like, oh my God, we need to high gear. So we started.
Right.
I tried to
Yeah.
annoy him because he used to manage my first band. Hi, Joe.
Yeah.
He didn't reply, so it's okay.
But
Yeah, that went on for a couple of days, didn't it?
Yeah,
You were getting
I
real-
think I just annoyed the hell out of him, which is I do that sometimes.
Yeah, you were super butthurt too.
but it was super cool that he gave us a chance to kind of do that. Like he knew nothing about the band. Like it was just the name.
Yeah, one
and stuff.
crappy upload online.
Right. You know what I mean? It's like, all right,
Hey,
here you
check
go.
this
I
out.
spilled some
So-
beer. Do you have like a rag or anything?
Yeah, we'll
Get
get
it
it at
later.
the end. Yeah, we'll get it at the end.
So yeah, that's how that happened.
Probably the easiest show you've ever got booked on. Just message them and be like, all right, done.
More or less, it was cool.
That's cool. Joe's a good guy, and he does a lot putting stuff together, and takes a lot of chances too. You know, like I think
Oh,
there's
for sure.
the reason that you don't see more stuff like that is because it's a risk. Everything that you do is a risk. Us doing the open mic is a risk. Anybody putting on a show, it's a risk. Anybody doing a festival, it's an even bigger risk. You know, the more people that you involve,
Unless
and-
you got an unlimited amount of money in the bank. Where you
yeah, exactly.
I'll
You
throw
could
a
just
festival
blow
just
it
because I
and-
want to.
Yep.
But back to Northeast PA.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen often.
No.
No, not around here, unfortunately.
I think that's why we have so many talented musicians in this area. There's not much else to do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to add to
Drink beer,
that. This
play.
area does have massive amounts of talent. Now, whether it gets exposed or like events like you were putting on are great, that gives people outlets to get out of their house and get off the computer and doing the videos at their home. Actually go out and shake hands.
Right.
And actually perform in front of people, not, recording
trying
yourself.
to get YouTube famous. Dude.
That's a huge part
Yeah.
of it. I think to me, for art is being able to connect with someone with what you put out there, and that's a real thing. You have to be playing in front of people.
Right.
You have to be networking and meeting other musicians.
That's the best part about art's the community.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's the best
Especially
part.
just taking in all sorts of different arts,
Yeah,
not
for
just
sure.
music, but
Back in high school, we played at, I think, half a gallery.
yeah.
Tasted. Yeah, we did an art gallery show. It was great, and we didn't even have our singer at that point. I think Luke Komorowski, he couldn't make it that show, so we just played like our songs and then like Doors covers.
There you go.
Like extended version of Doors covers.
Yeah.
It was so weird, but everybody loved it. They're like, "Oh, that was great."
That's how Joe Walsh started singing. Really? The singer quit. He had to sing. Yeah, and they were opening for like the Who or something. He's like, I don't have enough money to get back, so the singer already quit by the time they got there. So I'm just gonna sing, and now it's Joe Walsh, because I can't get home unless I do. So
He's like, "I'm drunk and I'm singing. Let's go."
whatever.
Got the job done.
James game.
I
Yeah.
think that's one way to put it for sure. Joe Walsh.
Does it go,
Holy
necessity is the mother of invention? Is that?
That's it.
Yeah, a lot of these great things that I believe happen. They're not planned at all, like what you just mentioned. I mean, spontaneous. Aaron, you said paying his dues. He never knew when his opportunity was going to land or when that thing was going to happen. He just kept putting in the time.
Yep.
And you don't know, when you're going to be referenced to, or who you're going to meet, or who hears your stuff. Maybe thinks it's awesome or thinks it's horrible. Who knows?
Right.
But that could lead you somewhere.
As it's all about making those connections and staying in touch with people and meeting people. That's been I think the most important part of the open mics that we've done is people making those connections, and people have gotten booked out of that stuff
Sure.
And gotten paid gigs and everything. And people have also, met other bands, which led to other shows and other events and stuff like that too. You might think, oh, we're the only guys playing this type of music, and then you
Yeah.
show up to something like that, and you're like, oh, no, these guys are in the same vein, and we can hook up and do something bigger together. And I think that's so important. And I think in an internet age, and I say this as we're sitting on a Facebook live stream, but not to be too hypocritical, but people need to get off the internet sometimes.
Not
and
right
actually
now.
Not at this moment. Yes, please stay. But people need to get out there more. They need to put themselves out there, and it's
Go
tough.
streaking.
Especially,
Whatever.
most artists I know, and myself included, it's hard to, swallow your whatever and go up to somebody and introduce yourself and talk to people that you don't know. Like that. I'm not good with
Sometimes
that.
that's hard, man. I hate talking to people, especially people I don't know. I get nervous. Like, I'm a big baby.
Oh, no,
Man.
Sometimes I have no qualms about telling someone that they're awesome. They're like, oh, that was amazing. I love that so
know
much. You know how I am.
Oh, I know.
I think it's great. I'll just tell you, it's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Don't ask my opinion unless you actually want it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna be the truth. It's gonna be the truth.
There's definitely a lot of different personalities. In that band.
Right.
Yeah, we're playing hard rock music, and I smile the whole time.
Yeah.
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 He's like, John, you can't be doing that, man. It's like a metal band. I'm like, because I just love music so much. To me, it's like if I play and I play with people who are talented, the biggest reward for me is if I get to play with better and better people. That's what I'm looking to do. That's what makes me happy. Everything else is secondary to that.
Right.
But if I get to collaborate with new people or play with people who are good and have a good sound, that's all I want. The rest is just lets me do it more.
Yeah.
Yeah, consider we stole you from Jerry Garcia songs.
Yeah. I grew up in like a jam band, background, so that's all I've ever played for a long time was improvisational jam music and classic stuff. And
Right.
they got me back into more hard rock and metal, and that's a learning curve for me. I mean, I haven't used an overdrive pedal in a long time. It's like, wow, I could do this. There's sustain. Things just keep going. It's cool. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from all these guys too.
It was funny, John, when we first were talking about bringing you in. Me and Sean were talking, and I'm like, how do you think this is gonna go?
I was like, he's gonna realize that his Jerry tone does not work for this because that's how he is, and he's gonna change it. And that's exactly what happened.
No.
It was after it was like this first or second time we played. He was like, no, I need like a whole different rig. I need a different guitar. I need a new amp. I can't use this pedal. Now he's gonna get a Macintosh preamp and put it on the floor.
Yeah.
I always get a kick out of it though, because like we've been playing these songs to the point that we hate playing them. But like when we go out to a show, if you watch his face, every time we go to a verse, like into a chorus, it's like he discovered it for the first time. And he's like, yeah, he's getting into it.
I get so
It's
high
hilarious.
off the music, It's really self-indulgent for me, but I just get high off the music, That's the reward. I think getting paid by things, by allowing me more free time to do it more, that's the reward.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe you could ever, be successful at anything unless you love it. People get jaded in the music scene about complaining how it becomes work. That's a pet peeve for me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a work. I worked 4 days, 5 days this week. Well, if it feels like work, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
It should feel good. Art is a little self-indulgent.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it should be that way. You should feel high doing it. Otherwise, don't do it.
Well, I usually do.
Well, there's multiple reasons for that.
What do you guys think of this one? You like this one?
I like this one.
I
This is
actually,
good.
I really like this one. It's cool. It almost feels like a dessert.
Matches his beard.
Yeah.
What beard?
Oh yeah, it's half gone now.
Half gone beard.
The inexperienced beer person in me wants
I
to say
messaged him
it's
yesterday,
like
"Hey,
it
we're
would
gonna be
crush
on
a
a
Guinness.
podcast."
That's the only way I can compare it to. It would crush
Next
a
day,
Guinness.
Yeah,
beard's
yeah.
gone.
It's like Guinness, but way better.
Right. That's got the little bit of sweetness to it.
Yeah.
But not overpowering, not too much.
Thanks to these guys. This is awesome. Beer boys.
Yeah. Go
You
Mother
should.
Earth Brewing.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm glad we were able to try it. So, what inspired the lyrical part of the band? We're talking about the music a little bit.
Well, like I
Lyrics.
said, 5 years ago, if you told me I was going to be like a lead singer for bands, I would have told you that you're crazy. But it's like it's been a learning curve. Now, like every song that you write, or in my case, a melody, there's a feeling behind it, a story behind it. And I basically have been, except for one song that Cody suggested a feeling. But I would take a feeling from that song or that melody, and I would basically try to trying to form it into into songs. Now I'm not much of an experienced poet. I'll be honest, but I pretty much do what I can, you know. So, like I said, I'm still learning. It's interesting, but so far so good.
He writes pretty stuff.
I've had good.
I mean, it's angry and heavy, but it's
yeah. Well, most of my feelings are pretty dark and disturbing. But like, I've had a lot of.
I mean, they have
Dark
to be
and
for all the
disturbing,
smiles
so-
we have on our faces. Everybody's so happy on the outside, so angry on the inside.
I'm doing the best I can, basically. So. Just, you know, one day at a time, and every time we do a song. And if there's a suggestion that something doesn't sound good, then we go back to the drawing board and rewrite it and go from there. But
rarely is it good enough, but we make do.
right,
Yeah.
I think we're all open to suggestions too. That's what makes the writing process so easy. I mean, we're all pretty opinionated on what we like and what we don't like, but also, you know, any of these guys, we could suggest anything to each other. We're not taking offense to it, you know, and we're going into it serving the sound. So it's about the song first. It's not about, you know, the bass part, your solo or my thing or whatever. It's about developing the song and that message.
yeah.
As John always says, it's about telling the story,
Yeah.
contributing your part to the story.
Yeah,
Don't take away from it, add to it.
yeah.
The one thing I really like doing about writing my music is it's a concept that I've seen other artists do it, and I try to embrace it. I want to make the song with a meaning, with a backstory, but I want it to be open-ended, and I want people to think of that song to like almost relate that song to their lives.
Connect to them.
It could mean a completely different thing to somebody else, but like that's been another thing on the learning curve that I've been learning, trying to make it open-ended, explain the backstory, but also more or less have it so
Connect to
yeah,
a lot of
connect
people.
more or less. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that double-edged sword of you know, you want to tell people the story, but you also want people to kind of interpret it their own way,
Right.
kind of get their own, you know, like maybe insert their own feelings or their own experiences onto, you know, whatever you're writing per se.
I
Exactly.
mean, most songs you love, it's always because it makes you feel a certain way, you know?
Right.
We always attribute a certain kind of like, oh, that song is about this for sure.
Or you
Yeah.
remember
And
a
then-
time or
and
a
you find out
place
it's
you
not.
We're
were.
like, no, it's.
No.
I always thought that about like some Muse songs on like Plug-in Baby, whatever album that is. I forget what it is. But then I found out like Matt Bellamy wrote that whole thing on like mushrooms. He was like, I don't know
I
what
didn't
any
know
of
this
this is
about.
Don't know.
Sounds cool though.
Right.
It's great though. It was fun.
Can you guys talk about some of those influences? I know Muse is an influence.
For sure. I mean, it's very eclectic here. I mean,
Yeah, there's.
Oh, yeah.
There's a
would-
lot of different stuff.
Red Hot Chili
Different.
Peppers.
You're like
funk.
no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Maybe for him.
Oh, Beef selection's way different
I
than
listen to
ours.
everything from like
Most of
Tupac to like Beethoven and I don't know, Black Flag, Trivium.
Yeah.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I want to hear your playlist.
Beethoven and
it's
Trivium,
quite.
all right.
Mine's
They're very
know, I've
they're
been
very
listening-
similar. Think about it. Though.
Slayer, Beethoven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, this show
Yeah.
is so good. Just saw them. So good.
Are you going to the Pavilion show?
No, I just saw them in Reading.
Oh yeah, it's pretty much the same lineup.
Yeah, it's the same thing except they don't have Behemoth.
Yeah, that's right.
They have Napalm Death, which I would like to see. It's not worth the ticket price for just one band, though. And I'm poor.
Yeah, we're
Starving
musicians.
artist, you know.
Yeah.
I'm poor.
The irony of musicians, you can't afford to go see music, you know?
Yeah, what a trip. I work those places. I'll be up Montage with the stagehands union.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Doing rigging or running sound. You know, that's kind of cool, though. I get to see that part of the business.
Yeah.
Talking big productions. Logic, the rapper, was up there for 10 days. That was cool. Rented the mountain for rehearsing. Wouldn't that be cool? Like,
It would be.
just don't have to work. Just rent the mountain for 10 days.
I don't want to pay
Yeah.
to rent the mountains for 10 days.
Yeah,
No.
it's rad.
I'd rather buy a
Learn-
cabin.
We just go up to Mountain Sky, put up
There
our
you
own
go.
PA and play for
Yeah, there you
free.
go.
There you go.
Just tell all the guys, hey, come on, Purdue, come on, let's just
We're,
let us
we're,
play.
we're gonna hang up
We're
here.
gonna hang up here for a couple of days, pitch a tent, you know.
What great potential that place has.
Yeah, I worked at Montage as a runner a couple of times, and essentially you get a van and you take bands to and from their hotel and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And the worst part of the job, though, is you can't tell anybody about it. You gotta sign an agreement that you're not going to talk about it, because it's like, now I got a million stories about whether these guys are actually cool or not. Most of them are like actually really nice and stuff, and then some of them treat you like you're hired servant or whatever, but you can't talk about it. So but you get some interesting perspectives on the artist from that end of it.
Oh, for sure.
But we were talking about what were some of your influences in terms of what you guys are putting into the band?
When I grew up, when I first got into music, my mother was.
We all graduated together.
You guys are jerks.
My mom always said.
Fucking not even 30.
I know. I feel like I should be retired.
Oh,
I
man.
work like crazy hours. But anyway, my mother was huge.
Breaking shit.
Tree trunk fell.
That's on video.
I'll wait.
Wow.
Sorry, James.
That's our drummer from Drive's drum. You let me borrow that too. I'm glad I have a good community.
Yeah, Cody doesn't own anything
I'm so broke.
except for like a billion guitars.
Yeah, I do own a billion guitars, but
There you
nothing
go.
for this.
I'd say I was a little sheltered as a child listening to music, because like I used to be on the construction site with my father.
Okay.
And he'd play country all the time. And just over the years, I grew a kind of a hatred towards it. And my mother was a hippie, but she listened to classic rock. And she passed away, and I came across her CDs, and one of them was Back in Black. And Back in Black led to Metallica. Metallica led to Don't Laugh at Me, Creed. But
He was good.
Well, Mark Tremonti, I'm a huge fan of Mark Tremonti. I've always been. He's one of the reasons I started playing guitar. But Scott Stapp, I can't stand the religious lyrics and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's really hokey.
But as I got older, I made friends, and my friends listened to Korn. And then we went from Korn to Mudvayne to Slipknot, System of a Down, and just mainstream heavy bands. Mushroomhead, just stuff like that. And like I grew a heavier aspect of it. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, these days I listen to, one of my favorite bands that I really like to listen to is a band that actually came out back in, I think, 2005, Dark New Day.
Oh, yeah, I remember those guys.
You know, okay? They came out with that amazing album, and then they came out with another album that was a little bit heavier, but it just, that album alone was like, that was huge to me. I love that album. So, but yeah, those are some of the inspirations I've kind of grown up and sang to, and more or less kind of developed my own voice from,
Yeah.
So,
I have Muse, Fish, Trivium, and Lamb of God.
there you go.
In my CD
All right.
in my car.
Yeah, that's quite the selection.
John.
I started off, my dad was a sound guy for a classic rock cover band.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's how I started playing in general. I was
You
like-
did what I did?
Yeah. And so I used to get dragged to bars. I was like 8 years old for Loaded. And
Crystal Skies.
Yeah, Crystal Skies.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it was cool, but I always wanted to play. Nobody would ever buy me a guitar, so then I ended up playing violin. And then my dad tried learning guitar at some point in time. I bought one for $10, and he broke that one, so he gave me the one
Not
he was
cool.
using. It wasn't his fault.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah.
$10 guitar. I was like
Yeah.
10 years old. And but it started off with classic rock. Then I ended up, I've been all over. Tool, that Perfect Circle, all that dark era.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we went to a Lamb of God show multiple times together.
Yeah.
And then, I got on that festival thing and started listening to all sorts of weirdo jam
Yeah.
bands for a long time.
Hey, watch your
Earful,
words.
Talk,
Yeah.
and like all sorts of crazy.
Talk's great.
I kind of
Talk's
used
good.
a lot of that drumming and a lot of that in what I do now, I guess. A lot of different fills and bell hits and that kind of stuff.
Or one song, he was like, "That's a salsa beat that I augmented." And I was like, "What? All right, cool."
Yeah. The only reason that was playing Santana songs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I was like, oh, I could use
Whatever
this.
it came from.
Just gotta change it up a little bit. I don't know. I like to do a lot of different stuff than
You like to hit your snare drum really loud.
Yeah, well, I got big arms. I don't know what to tell you. It's just the way I hit it, I guess. It's the wrist snap. It's hard. It's loud. You can hear it. You don't have
No
to like
rehearsal
it.
space. I'm literally like this far away from his snare drum, and every time he hits it, like one single hit, I look at him like, I'm gonna gonna stab you.
And that's not even like a rim shot either. That's just like a regular hit. And like there's no mute.
I
on
got
it.
earplugs.
I have no.
Because of his snare drum.
It's the first time I ever tuned a snare and didn't have to mute it at all. Like it's just the ring. I like it where it's at.
Do you play any instruments?
I don't. I'm just a music fan, more or less. Not,
A rock band?
No. I did a little theater in school, which has given me the ability to be able to talk in front of you people without shitting myself.
Nice.
Unlike
And-
our lead singer here.
I write some poetry and do little poetry readings here and there, but only when people ask me. I don't do it otherwise. If people like, yeah, I want to hear your babbling shit, and I'm like, okay, I'll go babble for you for 15, 20
Ever do
minutes.
any like poetry slams?
I've done similar stuff. I've done some cool ones where we actually did like jazz poetry nights, where it was a little bit of people play jazz, and you kind of have to move the poetry to the music, and it's interesting to read because you're not singing per
That sounds
se, but
really
you're kind of
fucking
moving.
frustrating.
It's
I'm just being honest.
It's actually
Playing
not
jazz
because
standards.
the musicians are all improv, so they're kind of listening to you and you're kind of listening to them. So they're kind of waiting for you to say something or do something, and then they kind of play off of that. So it's kind of interesting. It's very like everybody's reacting to everybody else.
Fair enough. I'm just thinking of like a wandering, meandering bass line.
Yeah.
And then like maybe me playing jazz. I'm an asshole, so I try to trip you up. I guess that's just me.
That is you, Sean. You would do that. Be like, oh, you're gonna use the word fire again, aren't you? No more fire for you.
Fire. Whoop, 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 whoop. Water drops.
So speaking of live performances, obviously you guys have only done this the open mic before this this coming show. What was your experience? Did you guys enjoy the open mic? And,
Atrocious.
Yeah. I thought, shut up. It was good. It was good. We were first before like almost everybody.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we were the
we're
first
staring
band.
at the stage and we're like, should we just bring our equipment in? And we ended up making that decision. We just brought our stuff and set it all up.
Yeah.
And just kind of hope for the best. We didn't even know if we were going to be the only band or if we thought the whole night was going to be all comedians or like what it was going to be.
Oh,
But
when I showed them, because I saw the post, and I sent it to them. They're like, "No, dude, this sounds ridiculous." I was like, "Will you please read the post before you shit all over?"
Oh yeah,
everything?"
this is the day before. The day before the open mic. So I'm at work. I'm like, I don't have time to read this. Like I'm doing a floor right now. Like I can't read.
So
this
I opened it
post.
up, took a screenshot of like full bands loud. Here's all the prizes possible. It's going to be at the V spot. Blah blah blah. And sent it. Then everyone was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds great." I was like, "I know. That's why I sent it. It sounds great. Let's go do it. It's gonna be it's good exposure."
And then we came there.
It's
We're
some
like,
scene
yeah,
stuff, you know.
we got 2 solid songs. We're gonna be all right. And then you're like, you got time. We're like, okay.
All right, I guess we're gonna
Play
play
another one.
Tesseract.
That was a fan favorite that night.
Yeah.
Everyone loved that one.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I said it is because people were like, I got you can kind of get the feeling from people, even if you don't necessarily hear what they're saying or whether they want to hear more or not. And they really did want to hear more. And there was, it's very hard to get the people in the back to pay attention because the way the V spot is set up,
for sure.
Yeah.
it's more like the sound is all coming this way from the stage, so the people all the way in the corner of the bar. They really have to go out of their way to pay attention to
sure.
it, And when I went around and gave out the voting slips and everything, who are those guys? The guys who were really loud. I'm like, yeah, the guys who's caused my ears to ring. Yeah, those guys. The Holtzmann Effect. Put them down. But you guys
knew
were definitely
it.
the loudest.
Yeah, I felt bad.
That's
We didn't
what
know
you're
what to
going
do
for.
because, like, usually in a case like that, the amplifiers would be mic'd, drums would be mic'd, the whole
Sure.
9 yards. We just went in. We're like, what should we do? Just crank it. So we just turned it up and went for the best. So
Yeah, I
it was
remember the
cool.
whole
You can't
time.
be the
right
best
before,
with the
I'm like, this is
loudest,
gonna
at
be so
least.
loud.
For sure.
But it was cool though because we were talking earlier how everybody thinks it's popularity, however many friends you bring there, and I tell you what, well, yeah, obviously that's the point. But I didn't expect to get second. We put like us and 2 other people.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, well, we got the crowd. Nice.
Yeah.
That made me
Got the round,
stoked.
Yeah.
which made us feel good.
That was cool.
We're digging
No,
it.
the Griffin was good too. Actually, I had a couple classes at Penn State with one guitarist. So I knew
that's
him.
cool.
I was like, I know this.
With the fuzzy hair?
Yeah.
Okay. The kid with many instruments is what I was kind of really.
The one with asthma who was playing.
When he
like,
pulled the
full
inhaler
thing.
out, I was like, that's pretty cool. That guy's got something going on.
That
Were you
I was worried for his life.
I don't know. I wasn't sure. Like, I was like, is this part of the thing? But I'm
The
not
asthma,
gonna-
the wheezing? You thought the wheezing was an instrument he was playing his health defective?
You're out of tune.
I mean, was he? I didn't hear him. Was he wheezing into the microphone? You know. Wow. Way to go there, Sean.
Life and limb on the line, you
you're
know?
part of the show. I don't know. I wish he played the keyboard that he blew into more. That didn't happen. It was a clarinet. I was I was waiting to see what was going to happen, then I just saw keyboards. I was kind of let down.
Ever seen Iwi?
Yeah.
It's like electronic clarinet
Right, right.
That's kind of cool.
with samples in it and stuff. It's
Mhm.
crazy.
So, you know, before we wrap up too, I want to talk about, you know, so I always like to get people's band stories, you know, their best shows, their worst shows, that kind of stuff. Obviously, you guys are debuting in a couple of weeks, but you guys have been in other bands before. So, you
Yeah.
guys have any interesting stories about maybe your
I got
favorite
that.
gigs,
I
or
got
your craziest or worst gigs, or anything like
Start with
that?
those guys. I'd say they're the most seasoned.
Yeah.
All right, so I think my favorite show is probably back in high school, and we sold tickets. It was in Shahola at some rec center up there. And we sold tickets at school, and we, the one guitar player, Neil Tenier, his dad was a driving instructor in New York City, and he had a big red school bus. So we
That
sold
was in Damascus.
Damascus.
That was in Damascus.
Okay.
I remember that show.
So we sold all these tickets. His dad was late getting there. I remember singing in big circles in the school parking lot. We
Drinking
finally got
squirt.
up there. We got up there was nobody there, and we unload a bus full of people into this place and just play angry young music and screaming in the microphone and had a good old time. But
People were smoking cigarettes on the bus and he
Yeah,
was
oh,
yelling
yeah.
at us in the back. We were like 16 at the time.
Yeah.
People smoking cigarettes in the back of their guitarist's dad's bus.
Oh, okay.
It's a big red school bus as well.
I'll never forget walking in there, being like, okay, we're where we're supposed to be, and walking back to the bus, and all my shit was already inside. Like, people brought it in. I was like, this is cool. I don't have to do anything.
My band in high school, The Taste, we opened for Badfish at the Sherman Theater.
Oh, okay.
Many years ago now. But
Yeah, those
that
guys
was
are
like
those
my-
guys are good.
That was like my craziest time. Like as a kid, there was like 2,000. It was like a sold out crowd at the Sherman.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is insane. Like 19, 20 years old or whatever I was, and I had a big like Cat in the Hat, Dr. Seuss hat on when we were playing. It was ridiculous. That band was like funk, classic rock, hard rock kind of stuff.
Okay.
And we did like a tri-state tour, which Joe Caviston booked for us. That was crazy. We got a flat in New Jersey. We had wheel locks on the tires that nobody had the key to for the Chevy conversion van.
Yeah.
That was a pain in the dick. That sucked, but it was fun.
It's always fun. That's where you get stories. You
Yeah,
can't
right.
have a good time if you didn't have a shitty one beforehand.
Yeah. Well, you don't know. You can't gauge unless you have both.
Yeah.
You know.
I think the worst part is getting somewhere and forgetting something, and like
Oh,
that
right.
hustle at the last
yeah,
minute,
well,
like
we-
scrambling,
well, we-
like
Right.
We got to the open mic night, and I forgot a tom holder.
I mean that's
We had to drive
gonna
back.
put
Yeah.
that up.
Tom up, you had to go
I'm
get
like,
one.
I already took one drum away. I can't do two. Like, I don't know what to do.
like getting somewhere and not- forgetting to bring a strap, or like, oh, I have no picks and I have to play with my fingers all night. That's awesome. Yeah.
Somebody's always got to pick.
Wah.
Hey, I know bass players. See
John,
the abuse I get.
What was the best show you ever played?
Well, I can tell you the
The
worst
open
show.
mic.
I can tell you the worst show I ever played.
What are you talking about?
Last year, I'm friends with my buddy Clarence Spady from the area. You know, he's kind of a mentor to me and like a buddy of
He's
mine.
amazing.
Well, me and him were talking the day before, and I didn't know he was going to play this festival, so he knew that I was going there. So I ended up playing with his band a couple songs. So I ended up being super drunk and like just out of control. But it was it was a learning experience for me because
Yeah.
I played his Strat and I play with like 11s. He has like 8s on there, and like it just threw me all off. I played the worst I've ever played in my life. But when I left that stage that day, everyone told me how amazing it was. Like they kept coming up to me, that was the best show ever, best show ever. And what I learned from that, out of that crappy experience, was
Alcohol is
that,
drunk.
number one, what you're doing, most people can't play anyway, so it all sounds good to them, so it doesn't matter. You know, and two, you know, not to be so hard on yourself as an artist, because even when you think you're screwing up, you're already 10 steps, you know, you're doing way more than other people would be doing, which is on stage and playing or whatnot. So
Sure.
in that awful experience where I was like bummed out, I was like really upset about that, you know? I'm like, I did awful. Everyone's like, you're so good. I don't deserve that at all. What are you talking to someone else?
Even more.
Stop
was like,
lying to me.
Stop telling me that.
I think that
He went home and ate a whole
You know?
chocolate cake.
Most of the time, you're not doing as bad as you think, you know? So like that was, I think you learn from the tough situations
John's
for
the
sure.
positive one in the band. If you haven't.
If you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Smiles
Yeah,
and giggles over
yeah.
there.
I grew up, you know, listening to vinyl and stuff as a kid. I didn't watch cartoons. I like listened to my old man's vinyl of like Led Zeppelin and like Pink Floyd and stuff. That was my hobbies. And you know, I listened to like jam band music and like the Dead and the Garcia Band and all that. So I'm from that school, and
Right.
I've dabbled in, you know, I think Tool's awesome. A Perfect Circle writes some great songs. I was really into them. But you know, adapting with these guys, it's kind of like I have to play metal now. I have to look kind of like metal, you know. I can't be smiling and
Tool's a kind of a good bridge between those two because they have their jammy elements, but they
Yeah.
also have that harder edge
We have
too.
some stuff,
You know?
too.
We embrace, wait until
Yeah.
you hear the new stuff. There's
Yeah,
some
because Mr. I write songs in 7/8 over here.
switching time signatures.
If I got 7/8, then it's 4/4. You know.
We were
have
just
fun.
we were just about ready to boycott it, and about two and a half hours later, after me and him doing it, we finally got it.
I got a
Sean was pissed.
I got a handful of guitar lessons growing up, so I didn't know much about musical theory or anything like that. And once somebody introduced me what drop D was on a guitar, that was it. Like, I never played standard for like 7 years.
I do all this
I just
cool
everything I wrote was in drop D, and timing signatures, like the verse and the chorus and like fours. Like I knew nothing about any of that stuff. I just wrote
Okay.
what was pretty to me,
Yeah.
and that was the end of the day. So I bring it to these guys. They're all like, okay. So
We're both in orchestra in high school.
yeah.
Like classically trained, took lessons on upright, went to districts. Like all right, so that's in 5/8, and what key is that in? How do I? Cody, help me out here. What are we doing?
Oh yeah, but I'm like, I'm playing drums today.
Like I don't care. You have to look at his hands and tell me what chord that is because I don't know that.
It
one.
finally got to the answer where I'd be like, Beef, put on your tuner and play the top string and tell him what note it is.
No, because then he would just start playing the song, and I had to mute it and then play every string individually. And be like, there's the third. Thank you.
There's been obstacles. we're crossing them as we come.
But it's great because you look at the guy and he's like, he'll probably kill you. But no,
Big teddy bear.
he's not.
He's
He's
the
like,
biggest
he's
teddy
like,
bear.
okay, stop getting mad at me.
Yeah.
He
Why
also
are you
writes
yelling?
awesome songs that are extremely, like, just. I think a lot of his things are just pretty. Like I listen to him, like, even though that has the
Great
most
melodic content, for
distortion
sure.
I've heard in the universe, that sounds really great. I don't know. How did you write that? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, I hate it. I'm jealous. I try so hard. And you're just like, "Ugh, pretty, good.
I just try to play devil's advocate and compliment everybody.
There you go.
Well, it works for me because
Progressive
I rarely play the same thing twice. So when I play solos or when I play stuff, I'm 99% of the time making them up on the spot, just like playing to the moment. And that comes from that improvisational background.
Yeah.
So with me and Beef, I really have to have some serious eye contact and communication because I'm making this shit up. It could be 12 bars this time, and next time it could be 4. You never know. It's just, you know, I play to the moment. So
Yeah.
I think it's lame to play the same thing every time over and over again. It's like microwave food. It's a pet peeve of mine.
Right.
You know, the best chefs make it up fresh on the spot. What's in season and what's good now. You know, so I think as artists and stuff, I feel very stifled being stuck to doing the same thing over and over and over again. It would get boring really quick. But if I play to the moment and play to, you know, the way the band is and the way the crowd is, and
Right.
that tells me how long I could go and how long I want to stretch that, and what I want to do.
Right.
You know, and these guys give me the freedom, are able to even tolerate that kind of stuff. So,
Sometimes.
you know,
Sometimes.
Beef
Sometimes
at
we
works,
look
he
at
doesn't
you
know.
like,
These
dude.
guys know though, so
Yeah.
it's like that was supposed to be 4 bars. It's 9 now. What are you doing? Because it felt better that way this time. I don't know.
Sorry, you get that back.
Hey, sit down.
I'm coming.
back here.
Well, as a music fan too, I don't want to see, I don't want to see the album on stage. I kind of want to see something that's a little different. That's a live interpretation of a song. I don't want to. We live in such an age now where everybody just wants a fucking jukebox. They want to put a fucking $1 in and listen to the same stuff.
That's lame.
And that's, I think that's so stupid. I think if you go to a live show, you not only you want to hear some of the songs you want to hear or whatever. But I kind of feel like that's the band's decision. Like they play what they want to play. If you didn't hear your favorite song, oh well, whatever. Well, they're playing up at the arena, so I said that's the one show that you can go to where you can yell "Freebird" and it's actually has something.
That's some significance.
It's actually a legit request.
That's my thing.
Yeah, there's
all these classic rock bands.
like
it's
one or two of them.
It's the drummer. The drummer's okay. It's the drummer.
Yeah,
which is awesome. He's a great drummer. But
that's great.
No one else.
Nobody
is in the band. So what's going on here?
Right. Yeah, that frustrates me too. Where you're going by the name or whatever, and then you got guys like Kiss just recently, a couple months ago, I think it was. I said in an interview like, oh yeah, Kiss will still be around long after we're gone.
Oh yeah, well that's Kiss is
Kiss is just makeup on different people.
They're a business. They've always been just a business.
Yeah,
that's a good. They've
point.
been upfront about that since the get-go. They were like, we were country, and then this made money.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's
they're like, we'll sell the name, and everybody else can just wear the makeup and play the songs. We don't care. We wrote songs so they're easy, so other people can play them.
Right. You gotta find I don't know how Gene's gonna find a guy with a tongue as long as his though.
It's plastic surgery, Hollywood baby.
It doesn't matter how well you play. It doesn't matter, and it's just you gotta look.
You want the gig, you gotta get this done.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. How much does it pay? All right. Yeah. Okay.
Sure, I'll get an extended tongue.
Sure, whatever works.
Worth it. Who's in Kiss?
Well, we had a comment earlier. I believe it was about the bus show we were talking about. Steve Sampano said,
Steve!
Oh my
Steve.
God.
What's up, Steve?
Said in all caps, my favorite show I've ever been to.
Ah, man. I love Steve. Steve's a good kid. I was in Awkward Silence with Steve back in the day. I was the first bass player. That was a crazy... I love Steve. I haven't seen him in ages.
I saw he's in a band called Black Hole Heart, and he played at the Keys. I think it was last year. Me and my girlfriend went. They're pretty awesome.
They're fucking great.
Yeah, aren't they?
Really
I thought they're really. He's a talented guy.
Is Brandon in that?
Yeah.
Man, I honestly don't remember.
Black Hole Heart. Brandon
Black
Fitzgerald?
Hole
I don't know
Heart.
if he still is.
Yeah.
I started playing talent shows with Pat Kirby in 5th grade.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, playing Blink-182 songs and everything.
I think I watched Pat Kirby win a rap battle in high school.
See?
Get out
Eclectic
here.
bunch.
Pretty sure.
Really?
Almost certain.
I played Blackbird for the
Steve Zampano, if you're still watching, can you verify that?
Better be watching.
He was one of the first ones tuned in earlier. I don't know if he's still on, but he was earlier. We want to finish up with a plug for obviously the Lackawanna Music Festival, and you guys
We
are
have
playing the Electric
tickets.
City Music Conference as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
We're in both of them.
Yeah, we're in the music conference.
So yeah,
Magic.
if you want tickets to the Lackawanna Music Festival, make sure you hit these guys up. Like their page on Facebook. Follow these guys, send them a message. The inaugural Lackawanna Music Festival is at Backbreakers in Scranton, which it's an interesting venue, but it's really cool that Backbreakers are doing that. I give them a lot of credit for hosting those types of shows and bringing back all ages shows to Scranton, because there's just not
Absolutely.
Yes.
places
For sure.
anymore.
I mean,
That's
that was one of
huge.
the best things growing up. Like when we were in high school. I mean,
There's
he's
so many
wearing the
places
shirt,
to play.
going to the cultural center, going to
Yep.
see Sarko all the time. I probably saw them 40,
Oh
50,
yeah, I saw them
60
so many times. We
When
probably
I was-
ran into each other a
awesome.
million
For sure.
times and didn't know.
and
Probably.
my bass teacher was in the Raining Toads, Matt Mang. So I used to go see them all the time, and it was almost always a Raining Toads Sarko show, so it worked out.
right.
I mean, bringing that back to the area is great. Local
That's
music,
excellent.
I feel like people need to get more into and just kind of, it's great. It's a good thing. It's a good outlet.
Yeah.
All
The
ages.
kids need something.
Positive
you know?
outlet,
Yeah.
seriously.
Definitely. Absolutely. I mean, it was like when we were in middle school, it was all about the Battle of the Bands. There was an old
Heck
rec
yeah.
center out in New Ransom. They used to have Battle of the Bands there. And, like, it was all we ever talked about.
I was in
Yeah,
town.
It was like, it was
blast.
so awesome. We went there and had a great time. And
Yeah.
it was, We should bring them back.
Absolutely.
You're still rocking the Sarko shirt. I still have mine in the closet somewhere. Do you has that played a role in the band at all? You guys have said maybe Sarko is an influence in some form.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's got to be. Whether
Whether
knowingly
you
or
know
not,
it or
it's
not.
definitely
It's all in
subconsciously.
there.
For how many times I saw him, yeah, I gotta steal. I probably stole stuff off RJ for sure.
I used to. Those shows were
That guy,
amazing.
it was so good.
Going to a Halloween show and seeing keyboard player kick a fake aborted fetus
That's absurd, man.
across the.
God, it's so real.
What just happened to me?
Which, by the way, you guys, if you don't know, the singer is in a band called Starwood now in Philadelphia.
Is he?
And they have
Gavin?
a very similar vibe.
I was
Yeah.
wondering
So
where these
if-
guys went.
If you'd like to
Starwood?
kind of continue that legacy in some form or other, yeah, it's Starwood. On Facebook and stuff, they spell it like S period T period whatever, like it all So it's a concept thing. It's a lot like Sarko in that sense, where there's kind of a story behind the band, like this fictional story that
That's cool.
And very similar. Starwood is a bunch of aliens from outer space that have come here to prevent humanity from later destroying their planet.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so the songs are all about how you should treat machines better because eventually they will come and destroy you and stuff like that.
That's great.
It's
I
pretty
like that.
it's pretty interesting. It's a great show. I was at their first show and I've been at many of their shows since. I haven't been able to get down to Philly in a while, so. But I believe they have some stuff coming up, so look up them as well. But yeah, we should all go. We should all take a bus and go
That'd
down
be
and see
cool.
them one time.
Definitely.
That'd be cool. I'd be down with that.
Take a road trip,
I like buses.
party in Philly.
Of course, I like buses.
And there's also a member too of Alien Red in there as well. You guys remember Alien Red? They played with Sarko a couple times.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of those guys are keeping that going just in different ways. So,
That's cool.
That's
yeah.
cool.
I'm glad to hear that. Absolutely.
But you guys should go to the Lackawanna Music Festival. We've had all the exclusive information on that from the beginning since it was first announced. We just posted this week, actually, on Monday, we posted the full schedule of bands, so you can go check out all the bands that you want to see. But show up early and stay late. There's a lot of really great stuff in there.
There's a lot of
and
talent.
all different genres, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
For
there's
sure.
Which I think is so important.
From the big guys down to the guys like us that just started. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really neat. I'm excited for it.
And it's the first one, so it's you never sure what to expect to come into those things. But Caviston, has putting together shows for a long time, so he knows what he's doing, and I think it's going to be a great show. Oh, and Steve actually said he's still here and 100% verified.
Confirmed.
Confirmed. So go to the front page of NEPAscene.com right now and check out the schedule. These guys are on Sunday, I believe, right?
Sunday.
Kind of like midday, somewhere around that area.
Yep.
3:45 or something.
3:45.
We're on right after
Tentatively
Behind the
something.
Gray.
Yeah, we're right after Behind the Gray, which is another bunch of talented guys.
Great.
Yep, we've had them on the show before.
I'm good
too.
friends with one of their former guitarists.
Yeah, I know Will Perno a little bit. I went to him for advice about an amplifier.
Which
See?
one of the six?
Community. One of the
He
six.
just got a new one. It's a secret.
Yeah.
Beef, I have $15,000 worth of musical gear.
Hey, man.
I bought a Hughes Kettner yesterday.
Serve the sound better. You had to.
Now we got
You should see his fucking launch center.
Yeah, he's got a space station for a pedal board.
We do a lot of sci-fi effects incorporated into this band. There's a lot.
As Beef does a lot of sci-fi.
Synth. I do everything all operated from the floor. I have like synth, and there's like 3 different kinds of reverbs and all kinds of stuff. It's a different approach
Okay.
than a normal guitarist would usually take things. It's all very heavily affected. So, but I yet to reveal until it happens. So
I get my Gilmore
I
on
use a
that.
Big Muff Pie, and that's it.
there you go.
All you need, a Warwick Corvette Standard made in Germany, and a Big Muff Pie.
Yep. We already went over mine.
So for all you tech nerds, there you go.
There you
That's
go.
it.
So we want to finish up with one more song before we go.
Yeah.
Sure.
Why not?
Cool.
Get my drum back. Jim's drum back.
Here's your goat skin and tape.
It's not goat skin. It's deer skin.
Is it?
Yeah, it's totally deer skin.
What tune you want to do,
It's a
baby?
whitetail.
Okay.
That alright. Can I get a,
Oh, that thing is sweet. I think that we were loud at the V spot. Wait till you hear us then. We're gonna be really loud. Really loud. If we can't be the best, we'll try and be the loudest.
Yeah. We'll be remembered one by another.
Guys, who were those guys that were ridiculously loud? They're just way louder than everyone. I'm not wearing socks, you know. I'm not doing the Chili Peppers thing.
Alright, this song is called Black